going on, guys? It's the What Would You Think crew, and we're here with a new video. It's me, Omid.
How's it going, guys? It's me, Amir.
So we got the crew back today, and we're doing another comic book review discussion, and today is a very exciting one. It is The Ultimates 1, Volume 1 and 2. So Amir read this a while ago. I just read this, I think, 3 days ago. I knocked it
I've been
out.
trying to get him to read it for like almost a year now. It's
Yeah.
like well-known fact. I am like the ultimate guy on the channel. Love everything Ultimate, so I'm happy he finally made the time. He got to read it, and yeah.
Amir has been spreading the good word of the Ultimates quite like a virus. He got Nick on it, and Nick is reading it. Alvin bought it. Now I'm reading it. So it's really interesting. Amir, I wanted to get to know is what are people's thoughts on the Ultimates? Because I think just the Ultimate Universe is kind of controversial. I know people love Ultimate Spider-Man. Do people like Ultimates? Because I know it's kind of more serious.
Yeah, so that's a really good question because, like, you know, you and I, we didn't really read comics as much as a kid. Like, we knew the games, we knew the shows, and we were a big fan of the animated movies. So our first introduction to kind of the Ultimate Universe was the Lionsgate Ultimate Avengers, and that was a really good distillment of kind of the first volume of the Ultimates itself. But for a lot of people, I think the consensus on the Ultimate Universe is that it's a little try-hard, it's kind of dark and gritty, it's a little bit horny.
Edgy.
All of these kind of, yeah, it was edgy. So I think with the Ultimate Universe, aside from Ultimate Spider-Man, they're all kind of like, I don't know if divisive is the right word, but it's like, it's either your cup of tea or it isn't. You either love it or you hate it. So for me, the reason why I wanted to get into it was like, you know, we were playing X-Men Legends, we were just running through it again like a year or two ago. And I was like, man, I always loved the design of the characters in that. So that made me want to read Ultimate X-Men just to kind of get the feel of when it was written, which was the 2000s. And I think if you were looking to get a really great distillment of the era that it's written in, I think you're really going to enjoy the Ultimate Universe. It feels very contemporary for its time, whether that's good or bad. Like, I think, Omen, when you were reading it, you were saying, like, they were throwing out, like, pop culture references that would make sense in the 2000s.
They were saying, they were mentioning, it's just really weird for a comic book to name drop actual celebrities. Like I was saying, Shannon Elizabeth and Freddie Prinze Jr. That was, kind of took me aback. And, I mean, it does tell you it's a product of its time. It's early 2000s. Those were big people back then, so it makes sense.
And I think what's a really interesting point about the Ultimate Universe, and I think this is from a quote from Brian Michael Bendis, who was writing Ultimate Spider-Man at the time, and they got Mark Millar to be writing, I think it's Mark Millar, right, on the Ultimates?
Yep.
Yeah. And he was saying when he's writing Ultimate Spider-Man, he really wanted to be optimistic, and that's why that version of that character feels kind of in line with the contemporary 616 version of Peter Parker Spider-Man. And Mark Millar, not being a Marvel fan before this, they essentially hired him to write Ultimate X-Men and the Ultimates as a way of, you're an outsider and we want the Ultimate Universe to appeal to people who are not reading Marvel comics. Because the whole thing is, the inception of the Ultimate Universe is, how can we get people to read these books that are not, I guess, like well-known or versed in the established lore. So like, what if we can do a whole new universe that has no strings attached? You can jump straight in. So I think that's why for Ultimate Spider-Man, it's more universally beloved because it's a safer version. Exactly, that's the word I was using. It's safer versus for the Ultimates, for all the good and the bad. I love the swings that they go for. Some people would feel like it's a character assassination. Because I don't know if we want to start getting into the plot of it, but like, you know, they show like actually violent, toxic relationships. Like,
they show some pretty dark and real stuff. Like, I know, as we were mentioning, as Amir and Nick talked about this a while ago, I'll say the main cast of the Ultimates is Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hank Pym, Janet Pym, and Bruce Banner, I guess technically.
Yeah.
And who? And Nick Fury. Nick Fury is also the. They also mentioned when they're saying, "Oh, who should play us in the movies?" This version of Nick Fury says, "Oh, Samuel L. Jackson will obviously play me," and it's great to see that this foreshadowed it.
And even the art too. I think they even said they were using his face as like inspiration to kind of manifest that. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
So what was interesting in this book is, I know Nick was not a fan of this. I know you're a fan of it, and I was very much a fan of it when I read it. Was they showed Hank and Janet, and I knew from what Amir was telling me, they showed their relationship to be quite toxic, abusive, and there's a really uh,
Violent.
violent domestic abuse scene. But I knew that going into the book, and when I was reading issues 1, 2, and 3, I'm like, this is not where it's going. Wow, they're showing they're a very good couple. They're now the head of Shield, and they're making working together to make this new super soldier serum. And I'm like, wow, they're definitely going out of their way to kind of show that they're a happy couple. Everything's going well. And then issue 4 happens, and I think the issue is called literally
Hank and Janet, right?
Giant Man versus the Wasp, or Hank
Oh.
Pym versus the Wasp. And in this scene, as they're celebrating, I think one of their victories, they're all getting ready to go to Iron Man's penthouse. Janet's all ready. Hank is still in his lab coat working on some ant technology, and she's like, "Oh, Hank, you haven't got ready yet. We should get ready to go." And Hank is like, "Oh, I don't think we're gonna go to Iron Man, because who is it to benefit? Is it to benefit Captain America or Iron Man? Like, who are you trying
Whose ego are we stroking?
Yeah, whose ego are we stroking?" And she's like, "No, we're just there to have a good time and have a party." And from there, it becomes a very verbal fight where Hank is like, "You're cheating on me with Captain America, and you're a freak, and no one knows what you really are, but I know what you really are. And you're a disgusting, dirty mutant." And he's talking about how she lays larvae in their bed, and she like secretes this, I guess, bug juice and stuff. And it was really interesting to see, because I didn't know how much mutant hate was like a thing in this universe. I did not read Ultimate X-Men. I did not read Ultimate Spider-Man. I know Amy read that, and he also read Ultimate Fantastic Four, a bit of it. So it was really interesting to kind of see how much hatred there was for mutants, where it's like, "Oh, I'm keeping your dirty mutant secret, and that's you're lucky enough to have someone like me by your side." And then it ends up being that they fight each other, and at one point, Hank Pym brings out like a can of Raid and pretty much shoots Wasp with it, almost killing her, and she goes into the infirmary. And when you see it, it's a really heavy scene, which you don't see in comic books. And reading it, I was like, man, this is really dark stuff. But I enjoyed it, because I'm like, you don't see this ever. Like, this comic does a great job of showing superhumans be human and be shitty and good, and it was very realistic, which I really loved. I loved that a lot.
I agree, because that's what I was mentioning earlier, is that Bendis was trying to make a very hopeful story, and then they were saying for Mark Millar, he was telling a very nihilistic story. And I think that's what's so great about the Ultimates, is that, you know, it's a heavy critique of not only superhero culture, but like the government. And they were essentially positioning the question of, what if the government had a super military, and what would happen if they're overstepping their bounds, and if essentially they think that they are, you know, grander than everyone else, and they have no jurisdiction or control. No one can control them. So that was great. And I thought, I mean, it's just such, what I love so much about the Ultimate Universe, it is truly a blueprint for the MCU, because, you know, I would say it's controversial for its time or even now, but it is so influential on so much of how the how the Marvel Universe was adapted for the MCU. Like,
I agree.
Captain America: The First Avenger, that whole movie is pretty much based off of the opening first issue of Captain America in the Ultimate Universe, him in the past, and he's essentially with all of these soldiers dressed up in a very militarized version of Captain America.
I love Captain America's World War II design. Like, that is so sick.
That is chef's kiss. It's a perfect costume.
Yeah.
I remember whenever we would play Ultimate Alliance, that would be like your go-to costume. We were always saying that should be like DLC in any fighting game that had Marvel in it. So I think they did a great job with that. And what was so cool is seeing the idea of needing to justify a super team. So Bruce Banner, like Omid was mentioning, he's on the team, and he's a very insecure person, which I didn't know was always kind of a thing about Bruce Banner, is like the bipolarism, the very dark and tortured aspect of him. Like, because you always think of him as a victim, but you never necessarily see him as like a problematic person. So what was cool here, it's like he so wants to be like adored and loved, kind of like Captain America, where he's working on the super soldier serum, and he sees all of this backlash from the public of them getting billions and billions of dollars of funding, and like, all right, we're gonna get disbanded. The government's gonna shut us down unless we can think of a ultimate size problem.
Yeah.
And what he does is no one knows that he like. There's been sightings of the Hulk, and he's Gray Hulk in here, which I thought was a really cool reference. But no one knows that Bruce Banner is the Hulk here. So he essentially doses up on the super soldier serum to make a like ultra powered version of the Hulk. So he is the problem for the Ultimates to stop. So he's like, all right, I'm going to help us justify our own existence so that we can keep protecting the world and doing what we need to do, which is all incredible. And kind of like, as you would expect for a Hulk thing, it gets out of hand. He causes a shit ton of destruction. I think he ended up
killing 300 people.
In 300, I think it was at 300 or 800, they said. He killed a shit ton,
he murdered
right?
300. Yeah, he murdered 300 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really liked it because, I mean, kind of, not to get too political what's going on right now, but it's like the idea of a false flag where they make their own problem and then they solve it themselves and saying, see, you guys need us. You guys need the Ultimates. We are the hero. We're going to protect you guys. We are justifying this billion-dollar contract for the Ultimates. And what was interesting, too, is like, I don't know if any other Avengers has done this or any other superhero team, but they are like celebrities in this. Where Betty Ross is not really a scientist in this; she's like their PR manager. Where it's like, all right, we need the public to like you guys. We need to get you on talk shows. You
got to work on your image.
Yeah, work on your image and make sure you're palatable to the normal man. And I really liked Hulk being this false flag, atomic bomb threat that they needed him to be. But I was telling Amir what's interesting is in this Ultimate universe, because I've read Ultimate 1, and then I've also read Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk. And some of the, I think, controversy with the Ultimate Universe is, like, it is hypersexualized and it wants to be edgy. So, like, especially with Hulk, I really did not, I thought it was kind of weird.
Yeah. He has, like, some weird-ass fucking lines.
Yeah, he has some really out-of-pocket shit, and when he was, like, turn into the Hulk, and he just keeps mentioning how fucking horny he is as the Hulk. And he's really,
chasing after Betty, right? Isn't he? Like,
yeah, he's thirsty for
He's
Betty.
down bad.
He's down real bad, and it's like Hulk. It's funny, like when Hulk sees Betty, Hulk is not arguing that he wants Betty. He's saying like, "Oh, you are Bruce's girlfriend, and you should love Bruce." And like Hulk is the ultimate wingman. The ultimate wingman trying to make sure Bruce and Betty get together. But like even in the Ultimate Warrior vs. Hulk, like Hulk has like a concubine, a harem in a way, which I think is a really
secret harem.
Secret harem.
James Gunn was referencing this.
Yes,
this was the blueprint for James Gunn's Superman.
Yes. I just thought that was really interesting. That instead of it being kind of like a childhood trauma or being repressed, it's more so like I guess any animalistic instinct he has is being repressed, sexual too, which I thought was kind of weird. But Amir, I'm curious too. What are your thoughts on like Thor? Because they don't really address if he's actually Asgardian. This is one of the things I know Nick didn't like is they keep saying throughout Ultimates 1 that I guess is it I don't even know what I guess they just call him Thor. I don't know, like is it Blake, Daniel Blake or something? I don't know. But they say his dossier says he's a mental patient who keeps claiming to be the Asgardian son, and that he's from Asgard. But people were saying no, he's just sick and he got this magical hammer, and you really don't know if he is the God of Thunder like he's proclaiming to be.
Yes. Yeah, so I thought that was great, like a really cool way to flip the character. They were saying he's a schizophrenic who is essentially regurgitating anything he's heard from Norse mythology and claiming it as I am Thor Odinson. Because I think in his file, it's actually Donald Blake, which was in his comic in the original, his name in the original comics. So that was a cool reference. But they don't verify, I think, whether or not he's a god in Ultimate 1. But in Ultimate 2, he gets a much bigger stake in the story. And I thought that was so cool with this version of the Ultimates is, you know, they're treating these characters not completely precious, where you can kind of go for these big swings. Because another thing that I thought was so cool was in this Iron Man is this grand philanthropist, even though he's like the cocky asshole. After they beat the Hulk for the first time, it's the holy trinity of Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. And Thor and Captain America are asking Iron Man, like,
Why are you
you're a
doing this?
billionaire. Why are you doing this? You're a billionaire. You could be vacationing in one of your many beach houses, having all of the supermodel girlfriends you would want. Why are you risking your life to help save the world? And he essentially has this like really sad moment where he's like, "Oh, I found out that I have like a golf ball sized tumor in my brain."
Yeah.
He's like, they gave me a couple of months left to live,
It
and I
was a couple
realized,
months to 5 years.
okay, so they
It's
gave
just
him a
6 months to
couple
five
months to
years. So
5 years, so he doesn't know how long he has left. And he's like, I decided with the time that I have left on this earth, I want to do some good. I finally want to do some good and essentially kind of pay it forward, which I thought was a really great way to kind of like add some stakes and flip it on its head. Because what was so cool about this book and the team that was making it is they said we're not treating this as an ongoing comic run. We're treating this as a blockbuster. And I think when you're looking at the art, Omid was such a big fan of it.
oh yeah.
You can see just the scale and the scope and how that influenced the action scenes of
Like
the
look at
MCU.
this. Look at this.
Yeah, like
World War II Captain
the
America. Like the
splash
art in this
art.
is beautiful.
Yeah, the splash art in this book is just so incredible. The lighting is great. It looks so realistic that I'm like, I think for that alone, whether or not you will like it, because I told Nick, I'm like, I think you might respect it, but I don't know if you'll like it. So I
Hmm.
feel like just wanting to kind of read something that's so different and out there is, I think, worth the price of admission alone.
I
Because we
agree.
didn't really go into the second issue, which is with Kleiser, which I think is an incredible action-packed
That
arc.
feels like a
I don't know if
movie. It's
yeah, that's
not as
like a movie.
it's not as
Yes.
personal, but I think it gives you all the action that you would want from a comic book because uh, I think by the end of Ultimates 1, Hank Pym is off the team. So it's
Yes.
mainly they have now introduced Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Hulk is also off the team
I
too.
forgot Hawkeye was on the team.
Yeah, Hawkeye. I thought what was really funny. I thought running gag was like whenever anyone was talking on the line, like on the communications with
Oh.
Hawkeye, and he kept saying, like, "Oh, get off the line, get off the line." Like I think it was like Black Widow and Janet were trying to get Iron Man to help defuse a bomb, and then they were talking, and I guess it's all shared line. Hawkeye was trying to snipe someone, and Janet was like, "Where's Iron Man? Where's Iron Man? Where's Iron Man?" He's like, "Oh, he's not here. He's not here. Get off the fucking line."
He's like,
"Please
shut
get
up,
me
I
Iron."
need to focus.
Yeah, he's like, "Shut up. I can't do this if everyone's just yapping in my ears."
Yeah,
And
it's
I thought he
great.
was pretty good. There wasn't too much with Black Widow. I thought there was a funny line where uh, at the end of this run, because I actually thought the Shatari was a really cool threat because what they were doing was not necessarily to exterminate the human race, but it was the idea of to eliminate all free will because they're saying free
Mhm.
will is like a parasite to this species, and by
Their empire.
removing it, they can live in harmony. So they're mentioning that the Shatari is doing this all over the universe to millions and millions of species, but near the end, the other Shatari, I guess, aliens come to Earth and saying, yeah, we got pushed out by every other species. We're coming down to Earth. We're probably going to die, so just nuke this planet. It's done.
Oh, they were like, oh, we lost.
Yeah,
Every
hey,
other
fuck it.
species has defeated us.
Yeah, we're getting pushed across everyone. We're losing
Uh,
this, like, 17 front war.
they were like
So
the
they come
ultimate losers. Like, oh, honestly, now we're just gonna rage quit and we're gonna bring you guys down with us.
100%. Yeah, they just
We're gonna flip the
blow up the
board.
planet, blow up the
Yeah.
planet. And so what they had was they had like this doomsday bomb, and Iron Man was trying to uh, disarm it, and Black Widow was like, "All right, if we can't disarm it, Iron Man's like, all right, there's only one thing to do." He's dragging the bomb out. Black Widow's like, "Oh man, Tony, you are such a brave man. I really enjoyed the relief we had in the men's bathroom together, and I will never forget you." And he's like, "Forget me? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "You're gonna sacrifice yourself for the bomb." It's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm gonna use Thor to teleport this bomb to some random galaxy." And then they're all
Universe,
like,
yeah.
yeah, they're all like, "You're trusting a mental psychopath. We're all done. We have 5 minutes. There's no way it's gonna happen."
Pack it up,
And
boys. It's over.
yeah, pack it up. And at the end, Thor is able to deliver. And I just thought they had a great dynamic Iron Man's really likable. I think Thor's great because he's like a progressive,
It,
anti-establishment
yeah,
superhero.
he's like a
Tree
socialist,
hugger.
pro rights, human rights, and everything. So I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool. I know for Nick, he wasn't too big of a fan of Captain America. I know you used to be a big Captain America fan when you were a kid. Did you like his characterization in this book? Like, how did he work for you? Because I said I'm not the biggest fan. Again, I'm not super precious about how they characterize these characters. So I liked it, but what do you think?
I I can see someone not liking because I mean he's a man out of time. I think the MCU does not. They touched upon that very little in the Winter Soldier, and then also maybe the end of the Avengers. But I thought this book did a phenomenal job of a man feeling out of time, where everything he's loved is at the end of his rope, and he's kind of a loner, and you're kind of seeing him deal from a 1945 mentality stuck in the early 2000s, and some of his views
Is
are
Dave
outdated.
Wasp in this, or is that Ultimates 2?
At the end of this Ultimates 1, Steve and the Wasp get together.
Oh, okay.
So in this book, I can see some people not liking what they have him do because he's an older guy. But I'm like, everything they did I thought was very consistent. I can see someone not liking it, but I'm like, you have to respect it because it feels consistent with his character. 1945 World War II veteran getting
Hard as
launched
nails, like
60 years, getting launched 60 years where all these societal norms are very different. I'm like, is he the most fun character in this? Probably not, but I'm like, I think he's very
he's
well made.
badass.
He's badass. He has some really sick fights when he takes on Giant Man, which I did feel bad for Giant Man, even though he's like he was a wife beater. I'm like, he was expressing how shameful he was of hitting Janet, but Captain America wasn't having it, and then he beats the fuck out of him, and he also beats the fuck out of him when he goes to Giant Man. So I can
So
see
that was the
people.
whole thing that's interesting too. Is like, you're mentioning Hank did a very shitty thing. He was beating on his wife, and then Captain America goes out at his own volition. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna defend Janet's honor, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." And
Mm,
then surprisingly, Janet doesn't have it. She's
mm,
actually really angry at Steve, where she's like, "I didn't ask you to do that. I don't need your help to defend me. This isn't the '40s. Uh, if I want to handle something, I'll handle it on my own. I don't need you."
mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really cool way to kind of show his values being out of time. And I thought Ultimates 2 does a really great job of making him honestly kind of feel isolated from the incident of, being frozen and sent all the way into the future, versus in the MCU, they don't really tackle the idea that some of these heroes are almost a curse. Like,
Like Lost.
they're like, the moment you become a hero, they're like, all right, you're having all of the fun in the world. You get to save the day, you get equip and all these things, but they don't really get to take the time to kind of be introspective. And I think that's what's really cool about Captain America in this 1, 2, and 3, as they show kind of how is it he's coping with a life where he really knows no one, and everyone that he knew is either 90 years old or 6 feet under.
I
I think
agree.
there's some really great moments with Bucky in the second Ultimates that I can't wait for you to read whenever you do get to it. But
Uh,
I know I'm such a big fan of the Ultimate Universe, whether it's Ultimates, Ultimate Comics, or the new Hickman era of the Ultimate Universe, which I'm getting through and I love. But I just feel like this is such a, I don't know if necessary read is the right way to say it, but to me, I would say it's a necessary read, especially with where we're going in the MCU of a potential reboot with Secret Wars, and seeing, I think, the fatigue that everyone is having with modern superhero movies. It feels like we need an ultimate version in the modern superhero universe,
so we're running
even
back
though
Ultimate Universe.
exactly, we need something that completely wipes the board and feels fresh, because I think that's everyone's biggest problem with whether or not they watch Fantastic Four or even Superman, is they want to kind of go in unshackled and get a new experience, something that they haven't been conditioned for the last 10 years of. I know exactly how this is going to end. And that was my big issue with Fantastic Four. It's not going to be a Fantastic Four video, but breaking through the formula. I think that's the most important thing. and what we see with Ultimates,
And
everyone will.
I would say, I would actually love to say, probably people are going to try to cancel me for this. I would love in this new rebooted universe for the Ultimates to be directed by Zack Snyder. I think this could be done actually very well under a Zack Snyder regime.
Regime.
Yeah.
Which, if you ever get to read Ultimatum, I would love to do a video with you, Nick, and I, because that one is a doozy, and there's a lot to be said about that book. But yeah, I think I would say probably the most divergent from the source material would be the Ultimates. I think the Ultimates has some really big swings, whether or not they work. If it's how they did Hank, how they do Thor, how they do some other villains that I won't spoil in that, or even Reed. Reed Richards is incredible.
Ultimates?
He's in Ultimate Comics, the Ultimates.
Not this. The Ultimates.
Not in this.
I will say
Reed
the naming convention of the Ultimates is so fucking stupid. It goes like the Ultimates and then like the new Ultimates and the new Ultimates and then the Ultimate Comics Ultimates.
Ultimates? And then it gets Ultimate Comics. Because remember, after Ultimatum, they had to wipe the board. They got to get that stink off their name.
Everyone hated that shit.
Yeah, everyone hated it. So they're like, all right, we're not that. We're a completely new thing. We're Ultimate Comics. And then eventually became new Ultimates, Ultimate Marvel Ultimates. And then it became the new Hickman era of new.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I was very happy with Volume 1 and 2. I will say I think if
which one do you like more?
Probably.
Or do you see it as
I think
they're
together.
Stories?
They're together because I'm like, if I was gonna say if you watch the Ultimate Avengers, I think you can actually read these books and you'll get a much different story because in those cartoons, it's like it is I think a sanitized version, which it has some of the beats of the comics, but I'm like, there's a lot that's different in the book, and like
it's more traditional.
Yeah, and like you get some of Kleiser in the movie, but like in this, you get 5-6 issues of Kleiser and like kind of seeing how he worked with the Nazis, because I thought it was really interesting. Also I think you really get a good idea of the rivalry between Steve and Kleiser, and when they're fighting, Kleiser's like almost winning, and the way that they stop Kleiser is they have Hulk come in, and I thought this was funny as hell. Was the way Captain America gets Hulk to fight Kleiser is he's like, hey Hulk, you know that naked guy over there? He was with Betty when you were in solitary confinement. And then Hulk is like, huh? No one gets with Banner's girlfriend. I'm gonna kill you. And he just beats the shit out of Kleiser. And Kleiser's like, I don't know who the fuck you are, but I don't know what the hell's going on. So I thought Hulk and the whole Kleiser fight was really funny, and I enjoyed it. I thought that was cool. For anyone who is curious, I don't know how much this is. I think it's like probably $20 you can find online on Amazon probably. I think it's a great read, and especially with the rebooted universe.
But they're now recently doing a reprint run. Yeah, I think Nick was able to find it off of eBay. Reprint run.
We did lose you again. So I think what he said was Nick got this off eBay for $2 for $30, and I think they're doing a reprint pretty soon. So I mean, go to either your local comic shop. I think they'll have the Ultimates, or maybe Amazon will carry it. I think that's exactly what Amir said. And I do believe they are reprinting Ultimate Spider-Man. I think Amir might get into that. I think Amir. It'll be really interesting for Amir to read more.
Right now, I'm currently reading through Secret Wars. I'm trying to get through that. Yeah, because I did Ultimate X-Men. I read all of it. All of the Ultimates I read. I got to new Ultimate Marvel, the Ultimates. I read that. Ultimates, The Last Stand, Cataclysm. Read that. So now I'm getting to the end of the Ultimate Universe with Secret Wars. So I'm very excited with that read through. I got the omnibus for like $50 online. It was the reprint version with the Maker and Reed doing the iconic Spider-Man pose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy to read that, and then eventually I'll be able to get headfirst into
the new Ultimates.
The new, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's ending by December, so you got some work to do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you got some work to do to catch up.
Do we have confirmation? Are you gonna read Ultimates too?
Oh yeah, I'll read Ultimates too.
Oh, great. Great,
Yeah, I'll read
great.
Ultimates too. I will
Awesome.
say I don't think this is as good as the Immortal Hulk, but I think everyone knew that already. And
Everyone knew that.
I would say, I would actually love to say, probably people are gonna try to cancel me for this. I would love in this new rebooted universe for the Ultimates to be directed by Zack Snyder. I think this could be done actually very well under a Zack Snyder regime. So
Oh,
yeah,
regime.
yeah. 'Cause I
The
mean,
Zack Snyder regime.
we have the James Gunn regime. So I think it'd be fight fire with fire, kind of like
Yeah.
Gavin C. That's how I see it. Yeah. But no, I really
Honestly, I
enjoyed
think he
this.
could. He actually could do a great job with this visually. I think
I agree.
he would have a lot of fun, and he would
Or
bring a lot
Last
of the
Ronin.
sauce. Or Last Ronin. I'm actually very down for him to do the Last Ronin,
I think
but
so. That would be sick.
that would be great. As long as he just doesn't have David S. Goyer writing it, and they get someone else to write it, I think it would be great. But
Yeah.
I love the Ultimate. I definitely think it's worth a read. I would give Ultimates 1 like a 9, and I liked Ultimates 2 even more. And Ultimates 2 I'm at like a 9.5. So I think
Mm,
if
that's
you
pretty
like
high.
this, I think it gets even better. I think Ultimates 2 is
Interesting.
very good, and they do even bigger, bolder things, and they get a little bit more out there with their story.
I'm excited to
So
see more of Hank Pym because I thought he was not in it as much as I was hoping. I think he's a very fun character, especially with Giant Man. And I thought one of the things we didn't talk about, one of the best lines was during the fight between Hank and Janet
mm,
was Hank said, "You shouldn't have made me feel small, Janet. You shouldn't have made me feel small." And then
that
when
was really good.
Captain America beats the shit out of him, he says, "Oh, do you feel big now? Do you feel
Oh,
big
that's
now?"
great.
Yeah,
That's
so that was
great.
great. Yeah, that was
I
great.
didn't know that
So
they did the callback.
yeah, so I'm really excited to see what they do with Ultimates 2 because I believe that's Hank Pym's retribution arc. I think.
I'm excited to see what you think when you read it.
Yeah,
But yeah, anything else before we sign off? It's great to be back. It was good because we have so many books that we've been reading over the last couple of months. Like how you always mention, if you're not getting the stories of the characters you want from the movies, go ahead and pick up a book. There's so many incredible runs and little one-offs that really kind of satisfy and satiate your thirst that isn't being delivered through the movies.
I agree because I'm
So
like, I think for the movies, sure there are fun blockbusters, but like these books, because there's so many, there are years and years and years worth of content that you really get to have like a deep understanding of these characters, and like you get to go into their psyche. Like, I mean, as I've said it before, Hulk has been done dirty in these movies, and there are so many books that I'm like, wow, Hulk is a truly deep, introspective character, and he has some of the best written comics out of all the superheroes, in my opinion.
that's awesome. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah,
And like was saying, I think it's just also really cool to kind of see how the art form has evolved over the time. Like that was my biggest thing, and that's why I want to get into Grant Morrison's all new X-Men run because I heard it was really incredible. But it's kind of nice just to read something from a era and you kind of feel like you're transported to it. Like
I
that was
agree.
probably my favorite part of Ultimate X-Men is it's just unabashedly 2000, and from what I've heard of all new X-Men, it is similar in that vein. So yeah, I'm just very happy to be back. We have so many more books that we can be shooting videos on. So yeah, keep it on, keep it locked
Keep
in.
it locked. We're gonna try to get some Peacemaker videos out. So uh, it's just fun talking comics with our friends. What can we say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
have a great one, guys.